Fishing at Riverfront Park in Sheffield, Alabama, on the Tennessee River. It's the upper end of Pickwick Lake, just a few miles downstream of Wilson Dam, where Pickwick Lake begins. And the park there's a really nice waterfront that they've developed here in Sheffield with the playground and a boat ramp and just walking trail along the river. And you got to walk down the riprap a little bit, but there's probably a half a mile of river here that has good access, and some of this area is really good smallmouth habitat. I've fished the same area with guides before out in a boat, so I know it's a good fishing area. I've caught one smallmouth so far this morning, a couple pounds on the jerkbait that I'm throwing now. I switched to bait casting tackle because I only had 6-pound test on that spinning rod, and they're a little scary. Trying to land from the bank and getting down close enough to the water, especially with the jerkbait with 3 very sharp treble hooks. So, see what happens here. See a lot of shad dimpling the surface, which should be a good sign in terms of fish having reason to be around. And this area, I believe it was a old channel before the lake was built. It's an area of big shoals on the Tennessee River, and there's a lot of artificial structure from before the lake was built. And I don't remember exactly the history of the function, but there's these rock walls, and the current pushes through here, and there's a lot of ambush points for the fish, so it's a good holding area for them. Yeah, got a little bitty largemouth. Got them sewn together, one in the front and one in the back. I felt it suddenly, on the pause, I felt it go away from me, but then I hardly felt any tension. I was trying to figure out if my lure was fouled, whether my lure was fouled or it was a fish, and a little bit of both, I guess. That one wasn't the size I was looking for, but another fish is always a good thing. So that I might be doing the right thing or in the right area. He was right against the riprap. I had cast that one parallel and was working it down, and the smallmouth actually was fairly tight to the riprap also, a little further upstream and working it the opposite direction. Looks really nice right here. The only thing I don't know is whether this shoal is too shallow and whether I'm gonna be able to work my jerkbait over it, whether it's gonna get snagged. But I gotta at least try it a little bit. Moved to a different access area than where I was this morning. This morning I was at Riverfront Park, just a couple miles downstream of here. I'm closer to Wilson Dam at the Rockpile access. Had a little bit of success on the flashpoint jerkbait this morning, so I'm gonna start out trying that here. We've got looks like they're flowing kind of decent water, so we'll see what happens. Got a nice little eddy here with current going by just a little bit out from it, which is a good sort of a holding place. I put that one a little more in the eddy than I want to. I want to get right on the edge of that current so that it's drifting in the moving water, but where the fish right on the edge of it, so fish holding in the eddy in that ambush position, we'll have to see it dart out. There we go. Something grabbed on. See what See what species we got here. It's kind of staying down. I'm guessing it's a drum. I'm guessing a smallmouth would have jumped by now, but we'll find out here in a moment. Strong whenever it is. I think I saw a drum. Yep, it's a drum. All right, we'll take it. I feel like that's close to the same spot where I caught a drum on the jerkbait yesterday. Kind of out in that eddy. Really, a couple of my favorite things about fishing below Wilson Dam or below Wheeler Dam, which is the next dam up that the two fish kind of similarly, is that when you set the hook, you really don't know what's going to be on the other end of the line. There are so many different species that are prevalent and grow to good sizes that it's almost like saltwater fishing. There's that mystery of not knowing what's at the other end, and then kind of related, just in the sense of the unknown. Part of what makes it exciting fishing out here is the knowledge that anytime you set the hook, you might be setting the hook into the biggest smallmouth you've ever seen. This water right through here looks really good right now. You've got the point that's pushing out and directing the current line just a short cast out from the bank, but in between there's the eddy, and it kind of swirls back and forth. You've got current lines going different directions, so that creates a lot of good holding places for the fish. Trying something here a little bit different. It's a variation on a tactic that sometimes used by guys out fishing. I think primarily in the boats here. They normally use a spoon. It's almost like a Carolina rig, except I'm going to fish it real fast. The weight is to keep the bait down just a little bit in the strong current and to provide some extra casting. I've got a 3/4 ounce. I might end up needing to upgrade it. I wanted 1 ounce weights, and I found 3/4 and 1.5, and the 1.5 might be a little heavy. I'm not sure, but the presentation is just cast and crank, just dripping along. Oh, I caught a leaf. And this the lure that I'm using, the Tasmanian Devil. It's an inline lure that's kind of a wobbling sort of a lure, and they're actually from Australia, and they're primarily used for trout fishing, a little bit casting in streams, but mostly for trolling and in bigger water, like for brown trout. But that silver bullet, the Tasmanian Devil in that silver bullet color, which is that shiny color got on there, is very similar in color and in profile to the little shad that I'm seeing. So I'm hopeful, and it flares pretty wildly when you reel it quickly. So I'm hoping they might pop up and grab it. We'll see what happens. It's something I've never done before, so I don't have any idea whether it'll work. Actually I grew up in Florida and used to use a similar tactic for Spanish mackerel with spoons. Something, they got a little something, ain't it? How about that? Didn't take very long. A skipjack, how about that? We got 4 different species now. Again, he wasn't what I was chasing, but it obviously fooled him. He's hooked near the mouth anyway. How about that? I was wondering, it didn't feel like much on the fight. Bigger skipjack actually are pretty fun to catch. They sometimes call them Tennessee tarpon, because they're long and slender, and they jump and and they can be pretty strong for their size. Well, the skipjack wasn't what I was after, but that's certainly encouraging. The presentation, obviously, they eat those. They eat those small shad. People throw little jigs to catch them. Primarily, catch them for a bait. They're spectacular catfish bait. Cut up. They're very oily sort of fish, so they have a strong scent. So they're a really good bait. But people throw little jigs for them to suggest those little shad. And again, that's the same thing that the smallmouth and the white bass and the stripers are eating. So if the skipjack was fooled by it, hopefully some of the other fish will be too. That 3/4 ounce size actually seems about right. I can cast it out there well, and it creates just enough weight to keep it down beneath the surface. And you're really wanting to swim it along just beneath the surface, and not really trying to get it down there. It'd get snagged pretty quickly if it got down along the bottom. I think we'll keep running with that size. Oh, there we go. Something else on there. Again, it feels a little lightest. I think we got another skipjack. Might have found a skipjack rig, I'm not sure. Might have found a skipjack rig. Cool. Well, I found skipjack on the Tasmanian Devil rig, but I rigged the flashpoint jerkbait up one more time. I'm going to give it a little more shot before I call it an afternoon. That's a fat one. That one looks dangerous. I need to get the pliers out of the backpack to unhook that guy, or I'm gonna end up with hooks in my hand. But nice stout hybrid there, or white bass. I can't tell which for sure. Don't see any broken lines on him, so I think it actually is just a real thick white bass. They actually locally they call them all stripes. And the true stripers salts because they're for the saltwater run. We'll let this guy go. Calling it a day isn't one of my strengths, especially when the fish are biting, but I think I need to do so. I've got plans this evening, so been a really fun day. Did not catch any of the giant smallmouth that the Tennessee River is kind of known for, but I caught 5 different kinds of fish. Fished a couple different areas. Fished the Riverfront Park, a couple miles downriver from here, and then the Rockpile access, which is right below Wilson Dam. And just catching all different types of fish and standing on the bank's a lot of fun. It's the characteristic of this kind of fishing when you cast it out there and something hits and don't know what's going to be on the other end of the line.